exciting adventure. This is we have our club members, special guests here today. First, we'll draw using the magic word overlapping. Now, let's start with an axe and a tree first. And as our challenge project for today, let's draw a space station security guard. Metaman's here with a special guest, Beth Karbach, who's a puppeteer. And we'll see Beth's hand puppets and her marionettes. I want to become a member of the Secret City Club, so Metaman will tell you how easy it is to join. 4 Secret City Club members are here today. Sarah Vickers and Cindy Kahn will draw with me, and Roland Taylor and Betsy Jablonski will work with the puppets with Beth Karbach. Now here's what you need to follow along. You need your drawing pad, your drawing pencil, and your guest notebook so you can make notes on how to make puppets and have fun with them. Now, you gather those materials together, and I'll be right back. So you're in a positive attitude, right? You're energized, and you're ready to command that flat piece of paper and draw 3-dimensional drawing. Using that word overlapping. Remember, when you draw one object overlapping in front of the other object, this object looks closer to you. And we'll draw a tree trunk using overlapping. Now, drawing with you today, we have 2 club members. We have Cindy and Sarah. Are you all energized and ready to draw?
Yeah.
Okay, shake your hands out, loosen up. Let's see all that energy bubbling over. Okay, you have your pencil sharp, right?
Uh-huh.
You have your paper. All right, now follow along with me. We'll start by drawing that tree trunk, a 4-shortened circle right here in the center of your page. Take your pencil, sketch in a 4-shortened circle, and later on we'll draw our axe in direction 1. Vertical lines down from the side of the 4-shortened circle. Using overlapping is a really important magic word. See, it's the fuel for your pencil power. You know, I keep talking about pencil power, the 7 magic words. Overlapping is part of that fuel that makes your pencil able to create these 3-dimensional drawings. Overlapping is used when you draw an animal or a row of animals, a row of trees, a row of people, a row of cans, or even just one person. You overlap the arm over the body. Right here starts the near root coming towards you, comes off in direction 1, direction 7, direction 1. And see, I used overlapping right here at this point. I'm using overlapping right here at this point. And I'm going to pull another root off here, and I'll bend this root too. See, it makes it a little more interesting, a little more intricate design. And it's kind of fun to look at, isn't it? Really gnarly roots. If you wanted to, you can twist this into a knot like a pretzel if you wanted to. Now let's make this overlapping behind. See, this root right here is in front. And so we'll overlap the far root, or the distant root, back in the background. It goes almost horizontal across the paper. And the back root goes off in direction 7. See, way back in the back? See, look at overlapping once, twice, and 3 times. I'll use overlapping again on this side. Pull this root out right here. Pull the back root out. And then I'm going to stick a little tiny root way back in the distance back there. You can put as many roots as you want. Remember, this is your drawing. You can make as many different gnarly roots as you want. You know, anyone can learn how to draw, right? Your brother and sister can draw. All your friends can learn how to draw. Your mom and dad, your cat and dog can draw. Okay? I'm just joking about your cat and dog. But anyone really can learn how to draw. If you fuel up your pencils with these pencil power, boy, you'll have that confidence and that enthusiasm just to blast over that flat piece of paper and draw in 3D. Direction 1 and direction 7. And see, I used overlapping here for the hatchet. The hatchet is in front of the back part of this 4-shortened circle. Draw some rings to represent the age of the tree. I'm going to put a lot of rings in here. It's a real old tree. Now let's get to know a club member just a little bit better.
My name is Roland Taylor. I'm 10 years old and a 5th grader at Woodbridge Elementary School. I'm a member of my school special art club, the school band, and the school chorus. My teachers tell me I'm a good student in all subjects. My favorite is art. Outside of school, I participate in soccer, baseball, and basketball. I am one of the 4 members in my family, which consists of my father, mother, and younger brother, Raymond. Raymond is great at drawing, too, and sometimes we draw together. My favorite drawings are furry animals such as cats and dogs.
Now let's add some shading to the drawing. To the left side, my sunlight's up here, coming down, nice and dark. Over on the left side, I'm going to even add a whole tone, just to the left side, just blast right across. Then I'll add it to the top of the root over here because it doesn't get sunlight. And inside this little nook right here, inside this crevice, on the left side, take the side of your pencil on the left side here. See how overlapping and shading work together to create this three-dimensional object? It's like this tree trunk's really sitting there right in front of your hand, doesn't it? See, drawing in 3D is fun. You can create that object right there on your piece of paper. If you drew some food, it even looks like you can reach in there and eat the food you drew. This is really nice when you take your finger and you tone in the whole drawing. And then we'll add a background, add some grass and a horizon line back here, all the way across. And then we'll overlap some rocks using overlapping again. Once, twice, using overlapping. Now our special guest is a puppeteer. And let's see what she's doing.
Hi, I'm Beth, and I have my friend Josh Oshkosh here, and Betsy, and Roland, and what we're going to talk about today is the process of building a puppet. I have a word for you. The word is to animate. Any of you know what that means?
To make things move?
Well, that's close, but that's not exactly it. To animate means to bring things to life, to make them come to life. And what we do when we build puppets is take inanimate things, inanimate objects, things that are not alive, and we put them together in such a way that they look like a creature that might be alive, and then the puppeteer puts a hand inside or pulls a string, and it makes the puppet seem to be alive to the people who are watching. There's lots of different kinds of puppets, and I brought some of them with me today. This guy is Josh Oshkosh, and Josh is a simple hand puppet. He's called a simple hand puppet because he only takes one hand to move, and there aren't many parts on him that do move. The only thing I can move on him is his head. Some simple hand puppets, you can only move their arms. Others, you can move their head and their arms, but they're only manipulated by one hand. The next kind of puppet we're going to talk about is a rod puppet. And I have Bernard the Inchworm here. Bernard the Inchworm is a rod puppet. He works on sticks or rods. I'm going to walk him across the table. I like Bernard. I like Bernard. I like his eyebrows. Oh, goodness. Dwaddle is here, too. Hello, Dwaddle. Dwaddle is a very special kind of puppet. He's called a live hand puppet because the puppeteer's hand fits inside of a glove, and the puppeteer's hand essentially is the puppet's hand. The other hand works the head, so the puppeteer is working like this in a live hand puppet. Let's see who our puppeteer is. I don't remember bringing someone along to work Dwaddle today.
Hello!
Hi, man.
It's good to see all of you. I'm enjoying watching your puppet, so please continue.
Well, the last kind that I brought along to show you is called a marionette, and a marionette is a puppet that works by strings, and Wilbur here is a pretty good example of a marionette. Now, when you go to build a puppet, the first thing that you need to do is to make a design, a sketch. I brought a couple along here. If you could just go into that for me, please, little man. The first one is Ollie here, and Ollie, when he was actually built, looks like this. You can see that he looks very much like the sketch. The other one, if you look down here on the bottom, is the balloon. And the balloon, when he is built, looks like this. And again, the lines look just like the sketch. So I've also brought along today a bunch of different things that I use when I make puppets. All of these things that are lying around here and the fur back here, all of these things are used to put puppets together. And I want you to look at them and put a puppet together in your head.
Use overlapping twice, 5 times. Good drawing. You take a look at these drawings. Overlapping on this root, on this root, you know the rocks back here. And look at the ring that's going around in a 4 short circle and direction 7. Fantastic. Superb draw. Let's go back and add a little cast shadow. That's the hatchet. It's probably in direction 1 right across here. The sun's right here. There's a shadow that comes. Could even be a crack in the tree because when the hatchet hit the tree, it caused so much chaos. Crack it right across here, right down. And then we'll put a little more shadow here, and I'll add a little set of rocks. Make different shapes using overlapping. You see, this rock right here is closer to you, and it overlaps in front of the back rock. And you can overlap the darkness of the roots and add a tone to the whole grass area behind and around the tree. Add a little cast shadow to the floor, to the ground, right underneath here, next to the root system, and blend that out across the grass. Cindy already did this right here. I'll add one more overlapping rock behind here. And you can put some grass behind if you want to. I'm going to make a small little branch or a twig coming off here using overlapping off the side of this, and then put some leaves. See this little branch that survived being a little offshoot. Using overlapping one more time for a bigger rock right here in the middle. Overlapping in the front. Using shading here on the ground. And shading along here. Overlapping is really important. You take the drawings, you overlap a drawing in front of another object that makes this object look closer to you. Use overlapping all the time in all your drawings. Now I want to challenge you to create your own space station security guard. What kind of a creature you think would be protector or the security guard for your space station? I want to challenge you, club members too, Sarah and Cindy, to design your own security guard. What kind of security guard would you think of, Cindy, if you were to draw one?
Well, in the Secret City, I think all the people are nice and they're honest. They don't need somebody to police them. So I would have my security guard, somebody friendly to say hello in the morning, to show guests their way around.
I'll be anxious to see what you draw, and I'll see what you draw too, Sarah. Draw, draw, draw. Practice your drawing, and the super magic word, remember, is? Overlapping. Okay, good job. I like...
Yeah. Last night, when I was sound asleep, I had a dream about a new musical instrument. Oh yes, it's a musical instrument that anyone can play. And as soon as I woke up, I drew that idea into my sketchbook. This instrument is called a hummer-fanner, and anyone can play. All you need to do is to hum a melody into it. Now, as you blow into it, as you hum, all that extra air is collected in the backpack that eventually will turn the fan, which is on top of your hat, and it will cool you so you do not get too warm as you play melodies. By the way, have you joined the Secret City Drawing Club? If you haven't, you should. All you need to do is to send a drawing to Commander Mark. This week's drawing is of Cindy the Dragon. Here's a wonderful drawing by Sarah Vickers. To Secret City Club, Post Office Box 444, Raga, California, 94556.
Okay, Betsy and Roland, you've had a little bit of time here to put some sketches on paper, and I'd like to see them. Why don't you start, Betsy? Show us what you've drawn and tell me what his name is and a little bit about him. What objects did you use?
Well, his name is Hooter, and he's an owl. And I used the glasses, of course you can see, and for his beak, I just took a cup, and you could wrap it in yellow paper to make a point on it.
Mm-hmm.
For his eyeballs, he has yellow pom-poms with a little circle of dark felt cut out for the eye.
Okay. Very good. Why don't you hold him up so that they can see? There we go. Hooter the owl. He's very good. Very good. And what did you do, Roland?
Well, his name is Orville, and for his eyes, I just used this simple shape.
Mm-hmm.
And for his antennae, I used this shape with a ball on top.
A ball on top, yes.
And, well, it's just very simple.
Okay, hold him up so we can see.
Very.
Yours is a marionette?
Yeah.
And all of these little X's here?
Yeah, those X's are for where the strings are
That's where the strings are attached. And yours is what kind?
Just a simple hand puppet.
Simple hand puppet, and the hand goes up through the body into the head, correct?
Right.
Yes, very good. Okay. Now that we have sketches, and we've talked about sketching a little bit, we're going to take it the next few steps beyond. Here's the sketch of a puppet that I did. It's a sailor, and his name is Seymour, and he, too, is a simple hand puppet. The only thing that works on him is his mouth. And I'm going to show you how I would go about making Seymour the sailor. The first thing that I do when I do a puppet like that, is start with a hunk of upholstery foam like this, and we cut it into pieces, and we make it look like a mouth. And you put some slits in it like this so that the hands fit in, and you cover it, and you have your mouth. Okay, I also can cut out a hand. The next thing you do is to cover them, okay? And in order to make this look like a hand, we would stitch this around like this and put fingers on it with thread.
Hello there.
Hi.
I didn't want to miss any of your instructions.
You didn't. Well, watch carefully. Okay, when we go to the head, we're going to cover that very much like we just did the hand, and then we're going to stuff it just like that. And if we stitched up the neck and dressed it and put some eyes and stuff on it, we would have thank you, Madam Man. Seymour, the sailor. And as you can see, he looks very much like the drawing. A simple, simple hand puppet.
Wow, that's really very good. He looks very much alive.
Yes, he does, doesn't he? Well, that has to do with how you move him, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but not right now. Roland, you were asking me before where I come up with my ideas.
Yeah.
Well, ideas come from all sorts of places. Sometimes I find them in a story that I read, and sometimes I find a feather that I think is terrific, like the one sticking out from your ears, and that gives me an idea for a character. Sometimes it's just a color, but I find my ideas in all sorts of different places.
That's good to know. Let me get a good look at this puppet here. I want to see how his nose is put on.
How his nose is put on. Well, his nose is a separate piece and it's stitched together just like this, and then we attach it to the face about where a nose goes, and you have a nose.
Funny.
Yes, Seymour is funny.
I have some superb drawings to show you in the Secret City Gallery, some really good control. Isn't that neat how our puppeteer suggested getting ideas from stories you read or from the world around you? Look around, you get lots of ideas for puppets and also for your drawings. Let's look at the first drawing right here. This is by Cindy. This is her secret city. Looks like a historical secret city, doesn't it? Looks like it's back in the past with a really interesting arch. She used contour. She used lots of overlapping on the cliffs. Look at those cliffs. Look at the buildings, how they overlap. You see the overlapping even in the sky. Good drawing, Cindy. Let's look at another sketch. Here's another secret city. Look at this. Try to spot all the different places where overlapping's used. Nice, dark shading. Now I challenge you to create your own security patrol for your space station. I'm going to take a look at how Cindy's, we'll start with Cindy's drawing.
Okay.
Take a look at this. This is really neat. Furry creature.
Yeah, he's happy.
He's a happy, right? Now, you said something about they don't need security on the space station, so...
No, they're all nice people. They all do what they're told, and they're honest.
So his chore is just to welcome the people?
He welcomes guests. He tells them where they should be and all.
He's like the secret city citizen host.
Right.
That's a good idea. I love the way you put the stones coming down here. And he used overlapping a lot.
Yeah, he's got his little uniform, his capes on behind him.
His cape's overlapping a bit, and overlapping on the fur, and also overlapping on the grass tufts in front of the doorway.
Yep.
Beautiful drawing. Nice and dark. You highlighted the creature by darkening in the background. Good job.
Okay, thanks.
Now let's take a look at Sarah's masterpiece. Ta-dam! This is good work. You used color. This is beautiful.
Thank you.
Nice pastels. Now, point to a spot where you used overlapping in your drawing.
Well, I overlapped the frog over the rocket.
Okay. And you also
the
overlap
guard.
the jacket. You overlap the arm. See how the arm goes behind the building? Beautiful drawing.
I overlapped his toe over his leg and his knee over his toe right
This is a
here.
nice foreshortened foot, too.
Thank you.
This is really neat color. Now, what are these little creatures doing here? Are these your
Well,
patrol?
they just stand there and they watch
They get paid to stand there.
They check the license, and the license is to land and the license is to fly.
Uh-huh.
And they just make sure people don't do anything bad.
You told me
Of course,
something.
they probably wouldn't.
You said something about they don't make sure people litter on the secret city?
Yeah, well, there's another guard, a special one that does that.
Is it over here in the red flying saucer? The litter
No.
patrol?
No, that's when the spaceship's coming
This
in.
is a really nice idea. Now look over the easel. I wanted to give Cindy an idea for her cape and Sarah an idea for when she's drawing the roadway coming from the platform. Now, Cindy, when you're drawing a cape behind a a creature. You have your nice furry body here. You have the legs tapered really nicely. And you have your feet right here. I'll just draw in, block it in so you can understand what I'm talking about. When you draw a cape coming down here, look at how I use overlapping. I'll draw the cape, and I'll overlap little sections of the cape coming down. See how it kind of almost like a tree trunk coming off the shoulder. You can make these overlapping lines go all the way up. You can do the same thing back in the distance back here and put little wrinkles in it. And Sarah, when you're drawing a roadway, if you foreshorten it just a bit as it comes off of a platform, you see how it stretches out a bit at the end? And it makes it look a little more three-dimensional as it's coming towards you. Make a little more sense for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I get it.
Let's see what our puppeteer's doing with the club members.
Now that we've learned a little bit about how a puppet is put together, we're going to talk about what happens next. And what happens next is making it come alive, this animating that we were talking about at the beginning. In order to animate a puppet, the first thing I like to do is to give them a name. And all of these have names. We have Theodore here with Metaman, and we have the Balloon, and we have Seymour, and I have a mouth. Okay. All right. Now, once they have a name, you can kind of think about their personalities a little bit. Seymour is, of course, a sailor. And what kind of sailor do you see him as being?
Oh, a nice sailor.
He's a nice sailor. He's not real rowdy in body and stuff.
Right.
Right. And how's the Balloon, Roland?
He's mean.
He's mean.
He hates
Oh,
Seymour.
right. And he doesn't like Seymour. And Theodore here.
Oh, I think Theodore is very shy.
Yes, I think you're right. I think Theodore is very shy. He's very young. He hasn't gotten to know the world very well yet. After you decide on a personality, you have to think about a voice. Different kinds of characters are going to have different voices. If you have a very shy sort of character, they're probably going to have a little voice. If you have a character who isn't shy at all and who is big and surly, they might have a voice that's down here. If you have a character like Dwaddle who's kind of dumb, they might have a voice that was a little bit like this, kind of nasal, and sounded like they weren't too smart necessarily. Okay? All right. Yeah. Now, Balloon has a special voice. Balloon's voice is made with a kazoo, and I'm going to let you play with that. Betsy, I want you to think about how Seymour's voice might be, and Theodore doesn't talk at all. Louder. When you're working with voices with puppets, you have to be careful. You have to do something called lip syncing. And lip syncing is making the mouth move to look like the words, okay? Most people do this when they talk with puppets. And what we want to do is to open it out like this, to push the mouth out like this. Let's all say together with our puppets, the secret city! The secret city! There we go.
Beth, thank you so much for sharing your puppets. I've really enjoyed learning all about them.
Well, I've certainly enjoyed being here, Metaman.
That's a great creation. You another Secret City National Patroller, huh?
He's the cousin of the left.
He's the cousin, okay. Now, what is this guy's job?
Well, he also guards, he welcomes the people that are guests at the Secret City National Park. And
And you
it's
put a little bit of color tone back here.
Yeah, so
Okay, overlapping's used up here at the top.
it's a floating city, so it's out there in the sky and there, old mountains.
Anti-gravity city, huh?
Of course.
These are good ideas. I love getting all your ideas. Now, you used overlapping along the side of the road, and I'll emphasize this a little bit more on my easel. I want to take a look at this drawing right here. Now, what is this fellow's name?
Rafaunia.
Rafaunia?
Rafaunia.
Rafaunia. What is this fellow's job, the
Well,
security patroller?
He just catches the litter that the people throw out to sea. These are very rude people throwing litter out their window.
The flying saucers fly by, and well, these little orange people right here, and he's throwing some trash. And so this guy has a trash can he's pulling.
It's a trash net, and
Something
he
that
just catches it. And here's the
This
piece
is really
floating
nice
down.
of this Rafaunia to keep the secret city clean like that.
What's his job?
That's neat. I want to talk a little bit about overlapping on the roadway. Make it look like a real soft, cushiony road. I had shown you how to take this overlapping right here on the road, or the foreshortening, keeping it foreshortening. Now watch this. What happens if I take it and overlap it where the corners meet right here, like this? It makes it look kind of soft and mushy, doesn't it?
Oh, puffy road.
You can put a thickness on it if you want to. Even put thickness, or this puffiness, on the thickness of the road. Now overlap again, going back here in the distance. Looks like this guy's a giant back here, doesn't it? But I'll use overlapping a lot. You see, that makes creases in the road. Use overlapping right here. You can even overlap with shading. Take your pencil and shade the inside. Shade all the overlapping. Take the side of your pencil. And I want to overlap one more time on this corner as it turns the corner. A little wrinkle right here. And it overlaps. all the way across. Using overlapping, use overlapping on tree trunks. If the tree trunk's coming down, see how this trunk right here comes into the tree? It overlaps that near part, and it makes this part look closer to you. Understand what I'm saying? Let me take another look at your drawing right here. I used overlapping to make this near part of the road look closer to you than this part. These are excellent creations. I really like that idea. Even overlapping on the clouds might help if you take the near puff and overlap it.
Yeah.
Draw, draw, draw. Stay in a super positive attitude, and I'll see you next time. Just